if you enjoy my videos, please support the channel by liking, subscribing, and turning on notifications. Welcome back. We're jumping straight into it here as we come on to the 8th lap. We are currently in 11th place and running in the slipstream of 10th place here as we come up to the first corner, side by side in the braking zone, drop it down to first gear for the extra rotation, hit the apex there, up into second, and we're going to have a drag race down towards turn 2, which we happen to win, so we have just moved up into 10th place. So why are we starting the race all the way up here in lap 8? Well, because right now Gran Turismo 7 has server maintenance, so don't have access to the replay, and we're actually just using this footage from my video capture of the race, but my video capture of the race only went back for the last 15 minutes of the race. And so, to bring you up to speed, this is round 6, I believe, maybe round 7, yeah, I think round 6 of the Manufacturer Series in the World Series Test Season number 2. So we're in the Group 4s at Fuij Speedway, and we qualified 10th or 11th place. Did a pretty decent time, was only about a 10th of a second off of Andrew Lee. aka Distinct Andrew, also the artist formerly known as Amazing Hour, and I think we do have a little bit of a car advantage over him with this McLaren 650S. He is in the Mercedes. Nonetheless, though, to be within a 10th of such a top driver as Andrew is still pretty flattering, so I was really chuffed with my qualifying result, and so far in the race, we've been right on the edge of the top 10 for the entire thing so far. We did have a little bit of a gap to this group behind us early on, but then Apex Humper made a mistake, and he ended up falling into the gap between us, and yeah, just with him being a little bit quicker than me, and he was then able to drag this group in the slipstream back up in behind me. So running in 10th place, as I said, 11th behind me is Taj Ayman. Now, I didn't know at the time, but Taj is an extraordinarily quick driver from Malaysia. Well, I knew he was quick just from his performance in this race, and I actually had a lobby practice with him earlier in the day where we followed him throughout the race, and was just frustratingly about 1.2 seconds behind him the entire race, could never close up into slip. That Alpha very, very quick through the final section of this track. I would always close up a little bit on the straight, and especially turn 1, turn 2, but the rest of the track he seemed to have the advantage over me. And we'll see how that's going to play out in the race. But anyway, as I was saying, Taj, very quick driver from Malaysia, and he was actually one of the Olympic virtual series, like virtual Olympics representatives for Asian region. For the Tokyo Olympics last year. So yeah, dealing with a very, very quick driver here behind us. But thankfully, with the McLaren 650S, we do have that little bit of an advantage over him on the straights. So this is actually my first race with my new Fanatec Clubsport Formula V 2.5 wheel, so I will flash that up on screen for you, and I'll actually have an unboxing and a little bit of a review video for that coming up, so subscribe to the channel if you're interested in seeing that. So as we come on to begin lap 10 here, Taj is going to be just 0.2 of a second behind, so he's close enough to make a move into turn 1, and we defend up the inside, but he just goes for the move up the inside, and he misses his braking just a little bit there, runs deep onto the corner, and I'm able to get the cut back, and so now he's side by side with this Beamer behind him, and I just move over to give him the slip, but actually he didn't have such a great exit, so the Beamer is able to sneak past him anyway, which is probably actually a good thing for me, because I think this Beamer, although much stronger in a straight line, just no disrespect to this Japanese driver, I don't think he's quite as quick as what Taj was. And so as we come through turn 4 here, the Beam has a little bit of a look up there, at the inside there, maybe makes a little bit of contact with our rear quarter panel, but luckily we didn't spin out or anything like that. And so we're going to have to keep our eye on the mirror here as we come down to the chicane, kind of defend the inside line here, drift out to the middle of the track, and you see Taj, he's going to have a move up the inside there of the BMW, and now they're running side by side. Taj backs out of the move, but it has now given us a little bit of a cushion, so the gap has ballooned out to 0.8 of a second. So if we have a very tidy run through this final sector, which admittedly I have been struggling with in this McLaren, just I'm more used to driving this track in cars like the Group 3 RCZ or even the Group 4 650S from GT Sport, where you could really use the throttle to rotate the car, but unfortunately the McLaren is just a little bit understeery, and yeah, I just could never really get my head around how to correctly drive through the last sector. But nonetheless, we do now pull out a 1 second gap, and you see that Taj is back behind, and he's now swapping positions with the Beamer there, I guess going side by side back there. And so, yeah, the Beamer does manage to get back ahead. So, as I was saying, the 4C, not the greatest car in the straight line. So we'll skip up ahead now to the beginning of the 13th lap, and you see the gap has maintained at about a second. Taj has managed to just get back ahead now at the end of lap 12. And as we brake for turn 1, we do a reasonably good job there, but you see Taj, he manages to pick up 2.5 tenths on us just in that corner. We gain a little bit of that back on the exit there, but then turn 2 here and turn 3, we are just going to lose more time to him as the gap now comes down under 7 tenths of a second, down to half a second even. So yeah, he just absolutely is shredding into that gap that we have in that Alpha 4C. Very, very good through the corners. And so now he's in my slipstream as we're going to come down towards this chicane, and this is not where we want him to be. As we have said before, the 4C, not the greatest car in the straight line, but if he does manage to get into my slipstream, he can kind of literally will draft off of my top end and kind of negate some of that disadvantage. Now, as we come into turn 13, we see Taj here transforms into a time-traveling Tita, so that was totally unexpected, but he morphs his way back to right behind me, and now through this final sequence of corners, we're going to see that he's going to close right up to just under 3 tenths of a second here on the corner exit. And so we'll speed things up as we go along down the straight. And we're going to move across over to the inside to defend turn 1. This time, Taj decides to try and hang it around the outside. But once again, we get it slowed down perfectly, hit the apex, shift up to third early so that we can go full throttle on the exit without understeering into him. And once again, we're able to get the better of him there at turn 1. But we are going to have to go hyper defensive in these last 2 laps. You see that the gap was only 24 seconds to the leader as we began lap 14. And we'll see just how much time we're going to lose by the end of these 2 laps. As you see, maybe Taj has a little bit of a thought there to go up the inside of that hairpin turn, but we make sure that we keep it nice and tight on the corner entry and the exit. We don't want to give him any kind of run down towards the chicane, so once again we are now going to go defensive for the chicane. He is close enough to have a move there. It's a little bit hard to spot the breaking point when you're that close to the inside of the track, and you see that the BMW, he has a little bit of a look there down the inside, but he doesn't manage to get it up side by side with Taj as they go through the chicane. And now through turn 13 again, we manage to get the car onto the apex, come out, approach this penultimate corner. We don't need to go too defensive there because he's not close enough to make a move, but then as we come into the last corner, we're going to have to keep it tight here, not allow him to come up the inside, so he's on our outside there. We don't want to be out, we don't want to drift into him, but we managed to get a better exit out of there, and now we're going to go straight over to the inside of the track to completely signal that we are going to defend this last corner with all of our strength, because we don't want to give up this top 10 that we have been fighting so hard for. And you'll see that the gap now out to 26.8 seconds, so we lost 2.5 seconds just on that lap alone. And now as we come down into turn 1, he is once again trying to hang it around the outside, and this time he has a much better run off of the corner, and so we are side by side as we come through up to turn 2 here, but the McLaren just has the better speed coming out of the corner, and we're able to get just back ahead of him. And so we take the left-hander quite well. This time for the right-hander. You see he's trying to keep it very tight there in the background. We also try to keep it tight, but that's going to disadvantage us, and he's going to get a good run here out of the X of the 180R, but we manage to keep it in the middle of the track. He runs a little bit wide, and that compromises him now, and so now he actually has to look probably behind him as well, worrying about a move from behind, and we've managed to pull out the gap to just over 0.3 of a second, so it's probably a little bit too far back for him to make a move, so we brake a little bit later for the chicane, just to make sure, but we do miss the apex a little bit there, and that's going to give him a good run through the chicane. So once again, we're going to have to keep it nice and tight here for turn 13. We can't go out to the outside curb and let him duck up the inside of us. He's going to try and hang it around the outside, but we have more speed on the apex of the corner, and that allows us to keep the position. And you see there in the mirror, he gets a snap of oversteer there, huge drift through the penultimate corner. He runs out onto the exit curb. Now he is side by side with the Japanese driver behind him, and this is going to give us the safety barrier that we need to come around this final corner and blast down the straight to maintain 10th place in top split of Asian region in this Manufacturers Series race here at Fuij Speedway. So intense finish to a wonderful battle with Taj Amin from Malaysia. So all respect to you, buddy. I defended that very hard, and you were very fair the entire race. So yeah, absolute props to him. What a great race. And there you see the end result. We finished 29 seconds behind the leader. So all that defending, 5 seconds loss in the last lap of the race. So yeah, we end up there in 10th place, collect about 225 points. Not the greatest point score, but we were satisfied with the result, and so we decided not to go again. And so yeah, that will be the video for today. I'm going to go check to see if the update for Gran Turismo 7 has already been released. I'm excited to see what it will be, and I'm sure we'll see you all again next time for another video. Peace out for now.